weekly webinar together with Michael Lightman, Pavel Yaroslavsky, and Michael Sinilevich. We are continuing the webinar according to Kabbalistic principles, which we divided into topics. We have a few goals. Our first goal is to pass a certain information about these principles on. These are like spiritual laws that are necessary to learn, that one can learn. That's one goal, and the other goal is we have a lot of new students with us that are hearing this for the first time, and it's up to you to make sure that this is passed on correctly. So the first principle is everything that's in your within your powers do. Rav. Everything that's within your power means that everything you can do, you should try to do and be convinced that it's not within your powers to do, it's not in your nature, and that you are necessitated to turn to the upper light. And the entire nature is broken up into two parts. We are part of its egoistic part, and there's also the upper altruistic part. And these parts, they complete one another. And we, in our lower part, work with our ego. And if we would want to pass on, move on to the upper part, then we will need to do certain actions. We'll need to attract certain properties, forces from the upper part, the altruistic part, so that it would influence us. And to make it so that we would ascend up to them. It's a certain play between forces. There are very specific calculations here, mathematical. It's a consequence of interplay between forces, and there's no particularly smart actions here. In nature, everything is arranged very precisely and discreetly. Which is why we need to quickly understand that we cannot get rid of our ego on our own, and we are incapable of acting altruistically and unable to enter into the sphere of altruistic forces on our own. But on the other hand, it is necessary for us, because we need to resolve this issue with the purpose of our life. Because if we don't exit our ego, then we'll simply disappear in it. Just die the way we were living, the same way we die, until the next opportunity, which will occur, we don't know when. So the main thing is for us to be convinced that we are incapable of doing anything on our own. And then first of all, we will appeal to the Creator, and we need to be convinced that simply appealing to the Creator will not give us anything, because as Kabbalists explained to us, the Creator does not hear us. It's a quality of bestowal. It's completely opposite to our nature of reception. And that is why these two properties, they're completely opposite of one another and not in any contact with one another. Which is why if we wish to find contact with it, with this upper force, we need to become similar to this upper force, this quality of bestowal in some way. How can we do that? For that, humanity, broken humanity was created, broken into many, many individuals, humans, disparate from each other through their egoistic qualities, and thus we gather into a group and try through all kinds of methods to get closer to one another and create between us a certain commonality that will be similar to a certain oneness. And through that, we attract upon ourselves the upper force, the quality of bestowal, that starts to influence us. It begins its distant illumination upon us, which is why this light is called the surrounding light. Not the direct light that enters inside of us, but a surrounding light. And in this way, we begin to attract this upper light, this quality of bestowal. And then, once we attain a certain influence of the upper light upon us, we start to there start to appear within us new qualities of bestowal, of love, a certain belonging to each other, to one circle, to one group. And then in this way we can begin to continue to act in a certain way. Appears within us a certain force, an altruistic force, opposite the egoistic force. One person unable to do anything. He can gather a group, and he can, within this group, to begin to interact with one another.
Is that something he can do? Is there anything else?
Yes, it is within his power. He can simply fulfill these things.
Границу ее, или там мои силы, или там мои силы, где они.
Все, что в моих силах, то есть все действовать для того, чтобы быть больше связанным.
Whatever I can do to be more tied, be closer to my friends.
И тогда этот свет на меня в этой мере будет влиять. На нас.
And in this measure, the light will influence you.
Здесь нам придется убедиться в том, что только если мы находимся в группе,
We need to be convinced by the fact that only if we are in a group,
на каждого из нас может влиять.
within this group, this upper light will influence us, and then influence all of us. A question from Arkadiy from Voronezh: why can't we use this upper force until I'm convinced that it's not within my force, within my powers? Rav, you won't be able to appeal to it until you realize that you cannot do it on your own. Host. So only when you come to a point where you realize you can't do it, then you won't receive an answer. And all after that you receive an answer. Rav, yes. Another question. According to the principles of Bala Salam, the purpose of the science of Kabbalah, the general and the specific are equal. The general and the specific are equal means that the spiritual is not divided into different parts. It's something that's very common, which is why every part from the spiritual system has the same value as the entire system. Because even each part of the spiritual system is within all of its parts, which is why there's not a single part, whole part, that can correctly function, while everyone in the world will have this part that will not function correctly, if even one part does not function correctly. This is why the specific and the general are equal. Even if there is one incorrection that exists in the entire system. Host, please tell me how to practically use this principle, Rav. In spirituality, we need to strive towards wholeness all the time. And the difference between the 125 degrees is in the fact that we
Окей, тогда следующий принцип. Закон подобия свойств, постижение Творца в мере подобия Ему.
Закон подобия свойств – это закон физики нашего мира в том числе. Когда положительные или отрицательные качества, свойства, силы притягиваются или взаимно отталкиваются друг от друга. В этом заключается их подобие или разноподобие. То же самое в духовном мире. Вернее, из духовного является к нам в наш мир этот закон. Поэтому, если мы желаем приблизиться к чему-то или удалиться от чего-то в духовном пространстве, нам для этого надо менять свои свойства, становиться подобными тому, к чему мы желаем приблизиться, или наоборот, отдаляться, становиться обратными, от чего желаем отдалиться. Это может быть даже видно и в семье, между супругами, и между товарищами в группе. То есть, если я желаю приблизиться к товарищу, я должен как можно больше уподобиться ему. И то же самое, когда мы желаем уподобиться высшей силе, приблизиться к ней, мы должны между нами создать такое отношение, такое общение, такое поле взаимодействия, которое было подобно бы этой высшей силе, то есть свойству отдачи и любви.
Вопрос Ника из Днепра. Если конечная цель изучения Каббалы стать подобным Творцу и даже подняться над Ним, то не за это ли желание был разрушен Вавилон, Вавилонскую башню строили? И не за это ли изгнаны из рая вообще Адам и Ева?
Нет, но это просто незнание того, что вообще происходит на этих узловых точках развития человечества. Вавилон разрушен был потому, что вышли оттуда гвуцат Авраама, в которой люди собрались в соединении друг с другом, и Вавилон остался в руководстве, во власти абсолютных эгоистов, и поэтому они его разрушили. Просто он рассыпался. Они не могли найти между собой одного языка. Ведь в чем дело? Как говорит в Торе, в Библии, что люди перестали понимать друг друга. Так ведь? От этого и разрушился Вавилон, потому что остались там одни эгоисты. Авраам с теми, кто хотел идти на слияние, на встречу друг другу, эти люди ушли. Так и в наше время.
Ну,
принцип остается тот же.
По легенде, они строили башню до неба, которая должна была заменить высшие силы. Они даже
это
на себя хотели взять.
В своей глупой гордости они думали, что смогут построить такую башню, они думали, что смогут сделать такие, которые эгоистические, которые заменили.
And then everything fell apart. And this is what we know. So there's a principle that from perception they understand that there's creator's good who does good for both the good and for the bad. Yes, he's good who does good for good and bad, that's true. And only for those who are similar to him, he does good in the sense that people don't understand what does it mean that he's doing good, and those who are opposite in qualities to the Creator, he does good and they perceive it as something bad. Like a small child who, if he's bad, he gets punished to correct him, and he feels that his parents are bad and they are applying all these bad methods towards him. He's the Creator. And is that how we're going to reveal it? And only if we begin to act correctly, in a proper manner. If we do actions that will advance us forward, we'll understand these things correctly and feel them. And if we are not correct, we will feel these things as blows, as punishments, unjust, same as children. So in my egoistic vessels, I will never see the Creator as someone who is good, that does good. No, never. Because we are opposite in our qualities to the Creator, we will see him as someone who's bad, who's not just, someone who completely is absent. Question. Why are people who are different connect to one another and not those who are similar in our world? Rav, I don't know how much that's true or not. I don't really get into the questions that do have to do with how people connect in our world. I think we're very confused here. Either we connect when we're similar, or we connect when we're the opposite. As long as we are there together with one another. And our qualities, animalistic qualities, that don't really matter that much when we begin to consider that we must attain a certain spiritual goal. And then I simply don't pay attention of all the qualities that are opposite in my friend, and I begin to perceive them as something that's completely necessary for my spiritual work, my overcoming in all these problems, antagonisms. So it has nothing to do with the qualities that a person has, but their tendencies. And sometimes, sometimes all the qualities that are opposites, they begin to be corrected together. So is the Creator's goal to correct us properly and help us build the correct intention? Rav, no. Creator's only quality is to bestow and to love. This is what Kabbalists perceive. This is what they attain when they begin to understand, when they begin to attain the goal of creation, the last stage called Marxism. And is this what Kabbalists perceive? Yes, this is the only quality that Kabbalists perceive. There is nothing else. Everything else are steps on the ladder that help us get to that same quality. Question. The Creator does good, and who acknowledges that what the Creator is doing is good? Rav, why does the Creator need witnesses? The question is, it says that the Creator is good, who does good? Who felt that this is the way it is? Rav, it's the people who attained it at those levels. It's the same thing as children versus adults. Those who educate kids.
Действовать кнутом, а когда пряником, ничего не сделаешь.
Вы только что сказали, что добро, то есть чем выше поднимает человек по ступеням, тем более ощущает себя обратным.
Да, но эта обратность, она уже качественная. Для того, чтобы сказать, я ничего не знаю, для этого надо много знать.
Ну, про знание, значит, такой принцип: нет более мудрого, чем опытный. О чем речь идет?
Да.
Что это за принцип?
Нет более мудрого, чем опытный. Дело в том, что только человек, который прошел очень много стадий своего развития, это называется опытный, он понимает, насколько он слаб, насколько он не понимает, насколько вся картина от него скрыта еще. То есть здесь происходит то, что и в науке, то, что Эйнштейн говорил, что я как маленький ребенок собираю камушки на берегу моря. Это все, что есть у меня от науки. Потому что понимал, насколько это огромная масса информации, законов и всего прочего, которая не может быть им воспринято ввиду ограниченности его животного организма, его животного разума. Да.
Юлия из Москвы спрашивает в предыдущей теме.
Yulia from Moscow is asking about the previous subject. How from bestow and love can we reach such a world which is so low and cruel? Rav, our world is not cruel. It's completely perfect. It is eternal and whole, but we receive it in our uncorrected qualities. We are corrupt, and we need to rise to attain it in the whole degree, in the complete degree, until we ourselves attain it and receive it in the correct manner, with the correct contrast between black and white. Otherwise, we won't be able to distinguish between one quality and the other, meaning we won't be able to grasp creation and the world we need to be in. Basically, outside of us is only eternal white light and complete light. And we also are in this, but we have the uncorrected perception of our reality. We are all eternal, complete, but we just need to attain it inside of us. And this will happen soon.
Валера из Харькова спрашивает.
Valeria from Kharkov is asking.
I promise you.
Что добавляется?
Question from
what is added?
Kharkov. What changes in the spiritual degrees? Rav, the spiritual degrees give us attainments of our whole existence and the complete of reality. We may have attained that something is connected between us and the purpose of creation. Afterwards, these degrees, we attain the depth and the connections between us and the Creator, and we also attain the contrast and the relationships between the forces, like music and literature. We start to understand this perfect harmony, this perfect connection which is built on top of lack of harmony, and all these elements, they eventually connect together. And this becomes a divine connection between everything and everything. And this harmony is the result of our advancement and development. This is attained gradually in every spiritual degree. Yuri from Ukraine asks, what principles do we need to keep and to hold on to when we reveal envy or hatred towards different people or towards myself? Rav, we need to understand people in the correct manner. They're not to blame. The most evil people, the most cruel people, no matter who they are, this is how the nature made them. You can say the Creator. It said, I created the evil inclination and the good to correct it. So all our nature is evil, and every evil that we reveal in ourselves, it's because we were created this way. We need to understand. We need to correct this nature. For that we have the understanding, the forces, a method. Everything is in existence. We don't need to eliminate the evil, just to correct it for the good. And with that, we can attain.
Творец создал абсолютно доброе творение. Абсолютно доброе творение. Это изначально. Это, как говорится, Адам в райском саду. Это совершенно полное творение. Изначально. А затем...
This creation is completely complete and whole. This was in the beginning. This all gave the opportunity. So we will have some kind of sense for it, the feeling of depth of the situation. For that, a person finds himself in the opposite state. Then we have the serpent being added. This is the evil of the ego being added. And a person is in the opposite state of heaven, what we call hell, And from this hell, he needs to rise back up to heaven, but with his own force. Meaning to pull himself up towards heaven from this evil and to know what could be good. In this world, everyone needs to do this process. We need to understand that we are in evil.
How can we say in evil that's terrible? And we need to slowly raise it to something that's good. Michael, the people only see what's outside of them. Reality has existed for many years and didn't realize the evil. In nature, in space, it's not even 1 second what's existed. It's nothing. So we need to understand the depth that we are dealing with. And it's important. We are small roaches on a planet that we call Earth. And we need to understand what's been given to us. Something that's completely different. It's in a whole other paradigm. Another dimension. To understand our nature. And there's nothing wrong with it. We have achieved it now in our generation. In action, by invitation, we can say, to the upper world. Michael.
Michael, we spoke about this principle that if you see a flaw, it's your own flaw. For years we've been speaking about this, but I don't understand. How can a person look at everyone else and say that I am not corrected? I see the world uncorrected because I have a problem. This could have been good if everyone would say that.
No one can see it through their ego. We start from the lowest point where we don't understand that we're egoistical. We just, as it said, that a person's been born as a beast.
Michael, but someone attained this state, Kabbalists, so it's not clear how can we attain it.
Because as we exist in what we are already now, in that Garden of Eden, in the complete state, and then we fell to the opposite, and we look at the complete world, we have what's left from it, a spark, a flicker. And I can look and see all the groups. And look at all of them. There's more of them on all our friends. Vilnius, Germany, Latin America, Chelyabinsk. So what do I want to say? Many people start to feel that they need to exit that state. They receive the question of the meaning of life, and it's not on a state of that they want money and nothing else other than that. They want something higher, a higher point in this world. They want to find something above that point. Something that we call that we've taken it on ourselves into the higher place, the Garden of Eden, and want to go back to it. And until we reach that state, we won't calm down. That's what's happening now with people. Some are falling, and others are in different states, like the ones that are watching us now, that have a spark of the upper forces. Look at them watching us now.
Michael, I have a simple question. We all know, a few days ago, we had a a terrorist attack. 300 people were killed in Egypt. Innocent people coming to pray. We have many examples like this. The Kabbalist sees it. He says, I am to blame. It's because I have some uncorrected quality in me.
Yes.
So many things happen in the world. This is how I will sit and blame myself all day.
No, just try and correct what's in me more quicker, faster.
Should I blame myself to everything in the world? How can we live like this even one day? So many things are happening in the world. You can go crazy.
In all of that, you are to blame.
No, not me. Kabbalists, whoever feels it.
It's all of us. We add to the schematics of it, in our connections between us, and we need to add our own part to it, to the corrected world.
And you recommend everyone study this.
As everyone feels that they need to take part in it. It's not that just people here are watching us now on their day off. And they could be with family, they could be watching television, football. But instead they're sitting here and watching me. And it's not exactly normal. And so why is it that people are watching it? It's because of their point in the heart. It's because the point from the upper force is demanding it. I was very organized. As a young man with family, I had 2 children. I was 33 when I arrived to the Rabash, and I understood that that's it. From this point on, my life are only in this path. Now, how did I know this? There was something inside that jumped and said that that's it, that's yours. You don't need anything else. And of course, you need to live and have children and to think about a few other things, but that's all on the side. That's all for your existence. And what's important is the point in the heart. That needs to be brought back to its completeness, and it's gonna bring you there. It's gonna take you there.
Vasily from Novosibirsk asks, what is the benefit of knowing this evil? What does the wisdom of Kabbalah call evil?
Evil isn't just our desire to have pleasure. Evil is the intention to act for myself instead of others or against others. And we need to analyze it to understand it. What is that evil? It's not just happening that he wants to have lunch, or he wants to go out with tens of women or men. In all those actions, in our world of food and family and sex, our progression at work, doesn't matter. You can act any way you want in those fields. The evil is in your group, not with like normal people. They're just there. And they'll go through punishments. But us, we have to make efforts to go on the path of the light. And this is where we choose between the path of the light or punishments. And that's the reward or the...
Rina asks, I want to enjoy life. I don't want to suffer. So why should I get to know this evil if it's not pleasant?
Well, it's not just unpleasant. Is it unpleasant that it's to accept that you have something to do with something eternal, something that everyone else will anyway get to it, and here you are going to it on your own? No one's forcing you to stay with us. If you have an opportunity to run away, then run away. Because when you start to run away, you'll understand there's nowhere to run.
Еще один принцип. Я, авая не меняю. Если можно.
One more principle that I created, Havaya.
What is a Havaya? It is a system of all the parts of the system, and all those parts are called Havaya. 4 letters. Hey, Vav, Yud, Hey. And why is this equation eternal? Consistent? Because it's the function of the light. And in it there's the light. That's Havaya. It's the system of where the light enters the desire and formats it. That the desire wants to become like the light. The light brings the 2 opposite forces of desire and the light to something similar, to an equivalence.
Can we say Havaya is the construction of this desire?
It's the construction of everything where it comes to full connection with the light. And all the Havaya, it turns
What
into...
does it mean that Havaya is not changing?
Havaya doesn't change because you can't change it. They complete one another.
I will always want to receive. This is what this principle says.
Yeah, Rav, yes. Those 2 parts do not change.
There's a principle that says that dwelling in the sin is even worse than the sin itself.
Wow. I wouldn't say that. I would say that it, when you eat yourself over what you've done, you really go crazy thinking, what did I do with all these things? You're actually thinking something terrible. You fall to panic, into hysteria, into depression. And my suggestion? In no way. Never to fall to those points. Good.
Instead of your thoughts, you need to say in an instance, it's not me, there's no one except the Creator. That's why if you have some complaints about what I did in the past, you can turn to Him. He did everything. He's responsible. He created it. He stabilized everything. And it's truly like this. This is the way it is. No one would ever accuse us for doing this or that in the past. The only thing we need to be concerned is the spiritual path. And before the spiritual path, we are like beasts, like animals. That is why we have no calculation with this. But when we are starting the spiritual path, meaning we are coming to the speaking degree, from the spiritual embryo, there we start to have a calculation. Because up until then, only the ego governs us, so they can't come and complain about us. We describe it to ourselves in a way in order for us to, quickly as possible, we can see that it's only coming from Him.
A question from Minsk. Do we do this because of what's happened in the past?
About the future, you can't say there will be a sin, that I want to sin in the future. No, you can't say this. If a person wants to act egoistically in the future, no one would allow him to do this. He can only describe it to himself, to imagine. This can only happen in Romania. On the past, every minute that passed in my life, it was calculated by the Creator, none else besides Him, that He did everything. And for me, there's no responsibility on anything.
So, Mushi, so not to deal with what was in the past.
No, you had to go through everything. If you would see, you would also see the future things you had to, but you're not showing.
Mushi, so how to make use of our experiences in the past?
There's no experience from things that happen. You shouldn't take anything.
Mushi, received a few blows, shouldn't we learn from them?
You need to walk in faith above reason, and it's completely new in every degree.
So we didn't learn?
What do you mean we didn't learn? You need to only walk and bestow towards the Creator whatever happens. No actions in the past you can't take as an example. It won't work. Don't you know? You need to... What? Should you think that yesterday I needed to act differently? It doesn't help. You just think this way. Maybe I can lean on my past, things I can write in my diary, that maybe in the future I won't fall in the same mistakes. People with experience know that this has no meaning. You did a mistake for 1,000 times, you would do it 1,001.
Mushi, why is it like this? That we learn history and so on?
Well done. You learn from history, I learn about myself.
Mushi, no, I learned history at the university. Mushi, really, we don't, humanity doesn't learn.
Because the ego is always a new ego, a new layer of the ego. And we are given to work with it, to process it, and to ascribe it to the Creator, and I am as if I'm a new person. This is how it is written. Every moment, a new person.
So where's their experience from the wisdom of Kabbalah?
Never from acknowledgement of my previous states. They can go and disappear, all the previous states. Only the quality of bestow, this is what works and is mine.
And this is called wisdom?
Yes? Why is it called wisdom? Because in the quality of bestow, there is the light of chokhmah, wisdom, which enters the light of chasadim.
Mushi, there's another term.
Of course, there's no place. All the desires of a person, that is a place.
So if I think about something, that's what I live with?
In the wisdom of Kabbalah, there is no physical place like we see here now, as if we are in existence in this world. This is a complete illusion.
So Mushi, there's a problem here.
You are also an illusion. Small vessels that make this illusion real, that you have a body and your intellect and so on.
коротких волн.
It is all short wavelengths
Говорят и ученые.
and nothing more. This is also what scientists say, not only Kabbalists. Our world is a complete illusion. Nothing is in existence except for these waves, these frequencies. Even the smallest particles. It's only
Mushi, so what is it that we see?
what you see in your own qualities, your inner qualities. This world is in existence only within you. This is what we learn in the perception of reality.
Mushi, what does this give to a person that he knows this?
For now, it doesn't give anything. Today, it doesn't give you anything. But a person who starts to attain spirituality, he sees everything within himself. What does it mean within himself? Within his consciousness. And other than consciousness, there is nothing. We see these pictures through our consciousness.
It's interesting that even in science, they speak about it more.
Это уже опасно.
Иллюзия.
Да, это верно. Нет, действительно так сегодня. Я вижу.
It is real and it's true. Many scientists print and speak of it.
Как 15-20 лет назад это было очень... Тебя могли обвинить
We
просто
can see 15-20 years ago,
в невежестве.
you could have been blamed for being in stupidity or not understanding something.
Каббалисты сидели тихо. Ты можешь почитать об этом, не знаю,
That's why Kabbalists sat still and
что говорили.
quietly. You can read it thousands of years ago, exactly what is said today,
Это говорил.
even more.
Только между собой
But
тихонько.
you couldn't tell it to anyone. So they spoke between themselves secretly, and they lived secretly.
Есть такой принцип не показывать глупцу половину работы. О чем речь? Кто глупец, кто должен показывать, какая работа.
There's a term like this that not to teach a fool something that he can't understand.
Пока мы ее не закончим на каждой ступени. Мера полной ступени
The
называется...
Creator doesn't show us half the work until we finish the complete degree.
Так вот, до тех пор, пока мы не
This measurement
в свою эту
is an
кружку, допустим,
ancient measurement of material, of substance.
мы не будем
So let's say our cup, until we fill the cup all the way, we wouldn't feel that we filled it at all. Not halfway, not quarter of the way, only complete fulfillment.
говорится. Я вам скажу на примере. Не может быть меньше
I'll
10,
give you an example.
иначе не ощущается
There can never be less than 10 sfirot.
наличие в Малхут, которая 10-я часть. Только лишь после того, как все процессы в 9 высших сферах
It's not felt in the Malchut only after
Малхут начинает чувствовать, что
the processes in the 9 upper sfirot, only then the Malchut begins to feel something happening.
так сказать, нет,
That's why it is said,
нет, но нет части в духовном, только цельная структура.
Скажите, а
there's
эти
no,
принципы, они как-то
in spirituality there's no partial, only a complete.
Mushi, how are these seen in our world?
I don't know. In our world, I am not interested in using anything. It doesn't bring any benefit.
Только от того, что ты просвещаешь человека,
True benefit
что должно быть.
can be only when you tell a person what will be, what truly will be.
Потому что эгоизм начинает любые,
But you need to tell a person. Everything else
любые
brings harm. Because the ego corrupts it.
вот еще такой принцип.
He uses all the technology for the worst.
Какие препятствия, кто-то слепой.
не стань препятствием перед слепым.
Mushi, there's another term where we can say not to put obstacles in front of a blind person.
A blind person, meaning he doesn't have the light of chokhmah, of wisdom, because he doesn't have chasadim, mercy. Before a person like that, you shouldn't put an obstacle, meaning
Правую и левую, хухма и хасадим,
if he still doesn't have the right and left forces, you shouldn't give him the new degree. That's why it's not given to him. A person can be in a spiritual state for a long time, but until he doesn't construct the new qualities, he wouldn't receive the new degree. There's no connection to our world. You can implement them in our world, but these things are not meant for this world. Everything written in the Torah is not for this world, even though we see that they're making an effort in trying to connect it to this world, but it's not possible. In the Torah, they don't speak any word on this world, only about spiritual qualities.
Artyom from Kiev is asking, what can guarantee our success?
Only one principle, through the group to the Creator.
So we can't even learn from these principles?
No. It's only to the extent that he will rise in the degrees, he will see through fulfillment how he can implement them.
Artyom is asking, all these principles are universal for all of the worlds and all of the degrees?
Yes, because the difference between the degrees, it's only in the amount and the force of reception and
Sergei
bestow
from
and the
Peter is
connection.
asking, who's the employer? What's the purpose of the work?
Work in the wisdom of Kabbalah is working on your ego. Correction of your ego, the upper light, the Creator, corrects the ego, and the worker is called a person because he asked the Creator to correct him to the measurement that we prayer and raise man. Then light appears from above and it corrects the ego. The egoistic intention, it changes to altruistic bestow.
I wanted to say the Boli Senka.
I spoke with both of them, for an hour.
And from this gathering of friends, they want to ask a few questions.
Окружением имеется в виду моя группа, через которую я достигаю связь с Творцом. Правильное отношение.
What is the correct environment?
The environment is the way that I connect with the Creator, and this needs to be my connection with the environment.
Question from Yulia. What is to do manipulations on my ego?
Manipulation and using the ego correctly, it's not in the ego itself, but rather the intention above it. To use it correctly, this means that I have the right intention to bestow.
If there's none else beside him, then how is it correct to relate to what's happening in reality?
Ну, это, я бы сказал, целая
How to respond correctly to something?
I would say this is the system, my attitude towards the world, the Creator. If there's nothing but the Creator, who am I? I am some kind of projection, a small projection, an opposite one. The world around me is what I need to use in order for the opposite projection. I can reach the correct one, to be in equivalence of form with the Creator. And there's nothing except that. This is what I'm given. Me, the Creator, and the group. Everything else is external. I can pay no attention to it. It's only for your body to live. Meaning we need to split ourselves very clearly. This world, the beastly world, that I live, work, family, normally, and this is my regular state, which I exist in, with no questions. And all my yearning and questions, this is towards spirituality.
уподобиться Творцу в нашей связи, чтобы создать такое состояние.
It's in order for us to come to equivalence of form through the group, to come to the connection that we will reveal the Creator. This is how we need to act spiritually.
The last question from Bala Sulam. Based on what Bala Sulam wrote on World War II, do we need to go through it ourselves, or is it something external?
This is said about internal and external states. It all depends on us, you understand? Only depends on us. If we start moving forward seriously, there will be no more tragedies and war. We will go through it in internal states, because our efforts in spirituality, it comes instead of a lot of efforts in this world. So let's make our effort so people won't suffer. We have this free choice.
Mushi, I'm going to ask my own question that I keep hearing from students. We're talking to you about principles of Kabbalah, and there's many other principles. And no principle is related to our world. It's all wisdom of Kabbalah needs to speak to our world. We need to.
Nothing would work for him. We tried to do it a long time. Only through the upper world you can correct our world. Why is our world evil? So it will push you towards the upper world. Once you start yearning for the upper world, this world is not negative or evil for you, because you're moving forward.
Purpose is to build.
You are outside of the spiritual world, so it's all built to push you into entering spirituality. This is why we have this world at all. What do we have here? All this universe, it's nothing. The small earth, what is it? 8 billion people, like animals. It's all nothing. Compared to the spiritual world, we are like a zero. We have good things also. Theater, sports, Rav. You can leave this for your body and be healthy. And it's true that with a healthy body you have a healthy soul. It's in order for you to continue your spiritual work. Everything else is corporeal. Doesn't matter if you would live 10,000 years ago and walk wearing leather, compared to you, all modern. What's the difference? Compared to the Creator, there's no difference. Bella from Odessa asks, how can I awake myself to advance faster? The goal can pull you forward, but it depends on the environment. You have to make a group that will show you the greatness of the goal, that it will give inside of you this greatness of the goal and show you that this is the most important thing. Everything else is just internal growth and your relations with the group. We can turn to the Creator quickly through the 10, and we can force Him to help us. We have the power to do it. Mushi, I think so much has been done in this world. Rav, people haven't done anything. The Creator did everything. He pushed them here and there. This is why it's called the work of the Creator, because He did everything. And afterwards, when we advance, it's also His work on the desire. He changes everything. The desire itself stays the same. Desire can move only through pleasure and pain.
Вот это и есть свойство
if
нашего.
you show him pain or pleasure.
Поэтому нечего приписывать человеку
This is
какие-то
our world. So
действия, которых он
let's not ascribe to a person anything that he is not capable of doing.
есть такое ощущение
Even special people
Они тебе скажут,
that have this feeling.
У гадалки спроси, она тебе скажет тоже, что может быть. Ничего.
You have people who are prophets or they can see into the future. That's nothing special.
Зависящего от человека. Ничего.
Nothing depends on a person
Одного единственного.
except for one single thing, his private yearning for the Creator from himself through building an environment that awakes him
Он сам.
and makes him awake towards the Creator quicker and faster than he would by himself. This is your free choice, to yearn for him quicker than he draws us to him. This is our free choice and will, and I really hope that we will fulfill this together. I embrace you all.
До свидания. Я вас люблю.
Be well and goodbye. I love you.